G'day everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I got my little Skywatcher ED80 here that I've had for, I don't know, quite a while now, quite a number of months. And I've been using this for visual. I've been using this mainly for visual. It's 80mm, obviously ED80 600mm scope. I think it's f7 this runs at, if my memory serves me correctly. The only things I've done to this since I actually purchased it really were I've added this little 2-speed Crayford focuser. It's a fairly cheap, inexpensive focuser, and this bar on top is my own little bar. It's a little SV bony bar. It's been a really good little visual scope. However, I was intending to see what this was like to do a little bit of astrophotography with as well. And I've had these sat around for ages now and I've not really used it. So what I've got here is this Gemini autofocuser. It's basically like a really cheap copy of the ZWO EAF. So the specifications of this, it'll fit with the normal EAF brackets. And what I got is this 3D printed, I can't remember which shop I got this from. It might have been a Gina Astro, I'm not positive, but I got this little 3D printed bracket. And the idea is this actually goes onto, this actually fits, I'm not exactly sure yet how, but it fits onto one side of your focuser. I think it's this side actually. And it allows you to use an EAF. So what I'm going to do now, I have also got the generic field flattener for this. It's just a generic, I think it's an f5 to f7.5 generic field flattener. So my idea is to test this as a super budget rig because, you know, this is a fairly inexpensive telescope. This is definitely an inexpensive automated focuser. And this is a really inexpensive Crayford style focuser on here as well. So it will be interesting to give these a go and see what I can get. So first things first, I'm going to get this fitted. So give me a moment. Let's work out how to get this thing fitted. All right, guys. So I've fitted this now. So it goes on the side of the focuser, basically, that has the fine control as well. And it's basically this 3D printed plastic clamp. All right, just want to show this close up, guys, how this looks here, just so you guys can get a good view. So obviously you've got the focuser here. There's a temperature sensor and a hand controller. Both of those come, or at least with my package, both of those came included. In terms of how it's attached here, so if I just go around to this side, you can see it's got the same 2 attachment points here as you would get on a ZWO EAF. So those are oriented with the same spacing. Now in terms of the clamp that goes to this ED80, it's a little bit unusual in that basically what it does is the plastic printed piece here, it clamps with these 2 screws around the plastic of this shaft. And then inside here is where you get access to your 2 screws. So, you know, the screw here that goes to the Crayford jaw tube itself that's connected onto there. And then obviously there's 2 more screws that you can access through these holes here to tighten it to the Gemini focuser here. And then, yeah, the Gemini focuser then is just secured at the top here. So let's have a look. So if we stick this on here for a minute, and let's put on, this is our little receiver, which does come with this Gemini focuser. And then let's put some power into it just so we can test it at least. All right, there's our power. Okay. Now, let me make sure, so that's tightened up there. That doesn't need to be. All right, guys, so we do have this working now. It just took me a while there to remember the 2 screws underneath. So under the focuser here, there's these 2 screws. So This one that's closer to the objective lens end, this actually locks the focus, so that obviously needs to be untightened. This one kind of needs to be tightened because it sets how stiff the tube here is in place. So you do need to tighten this one that's kind of closer to the diagonal end here. That needs to just be tightened up. And then once that's done, it looks like now it appears to be working okay. So if we just try it, if you can see that. Yeah, so it's moving, there you go. Moving it out. I mean, like I say, I haven't really used this yet, so who knows how this is going to go. It's also the first time I've ever used one of these types of focusers, these electronic focusers, on a Crayford style focuser like this, which I know are obviously not as good as the rack and pinion, but it's still, as an exercise for a budget setup, it'll be interesting to see, yeah, if this works okay. So look, and I guess look, if you really wanted to, you could use this. If you want to do a bit of visual with it, at least they do give you the hand controller with this. It's probably not the best thing in the world, but so long as you're roughly in focus, you can use the hand controller to go in and out. So yeah, I'll be next test is to get the flattener on. I'll put probably my 533 one-shot color camera on. All right, guys, so we can now get ready for an imaging session. So at the moment, this is the 533 one-shot color. I've got the filter drawer in it if I want to put a narrowband filter in or anything like that. So all we need to do is just screw this on to our generic field flattener here. I can't remember what the brand of this one was. It was something like, began with an L. It comes in a few names. I know Orion do this same field flattener, and it was, like I said, I think it began with L, something like Liptech, or anyway, I'll put it on the screen. Whatever the name was. The one test I've done with it so far was pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. So, and it's just a push-in fit. It's just a compression fit, which again, it's not always ideal for Astro, but like I said, I'm trying to do this one on a, trying to just build this as a sort of a fairly inexpensive, well, rather relatively inexpensive, we'll say, in astrophotography terms, rig. So this would obviously then just go into there. Pretty sure that's my back spacing right at 55 mil. Yeah, and basically just sort of tighten that up. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much about your orientation. Probably good to have access to your filter drawer, but you never know how it's going to end up. So, all right, everyone. So we've pretty much got our imaging train complete now on our budget setup. So 533 MC Pro one-shot color cooled camera, filter drawer. If we want to do a bit of broadband, narrowband, we can drop a little duo narrowband filter in there, which I might do, depending on what we take. Generic field flattener. So that's the, like I said, I think it goes under a few different names, Optech, Orion. It's just a generic f5 to f7.5 field flattener. That's the Crayford style 2-speed focuser, which has got our Gemini EAF fitted onto it. So it's our budget EAF, which was super cheap. I have got a video on that if you want to look at that focuser. I have heard reports of one or two people receiving those focusers without the hand controller. So, they are off AliExpress, so I guess there's a degree of luck in what you get. Not that I'll be using the hand controller a lot with it, but, there is a hand controller and a temperature sensor that came with mine, and I'm not sure if everybody gets that. Next, obviously, just our telescope with our SV Bony clamp on the top here. That's actually a Prima Luce Vixen bar that I've got inverted there. And then onto that, all we would really have to do now is mount our little guide scope. So I'm going to use this SV Bony 50mm guide scope. I can't remember, but it'll be a good match for this 600mm focal length ED80, and this must be around that 200mm mark or something. ASI 120 mm guide camera, which will be, you know, perfect for this job. That'll just tighten there, so that should help balance our load a little bit. And yeah, we just need a clear night now. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope you got something out of this, and yeah, stay tuned for the test, and we'll see if this scope lives up to being a good little budget rig. I'll be interested. I'm really interested myself actually to see how this thing goes, especially given, you know, the kind of focuser, and both the Crayford focuser and the EAF, Gemini EAF that we've got on here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next video where we give this a bit of a test.